The recent announcement of sweeping global tariffs by President Donald Trump has sent shockwaves through financial markets and diplomatic circles, igniting fierce debates about the future of international trade and economic stability. The tariffs aimed at a variety of goods from key trading partners have not only led to a significant drop in U.S. stock prices but have also drawn sharp rebukes from countries around the globe. Analysts are now grappling with the potential long-term consequences of these policies, which many see as a misguided attempt to bolster American manufacturing. In the immediate aftermath of the announcement, the S&P 500 experienced a dramatic decline of 10.5%, marking one of the most significant market drops in recent history. Economists have pointed to this reaction as a clear indicator that investors were taken aback by the extent of the tariffs, which far exceeded their expectations. As Stephen Ratner, a former counselor to the Treasury Secretary, noted, the damage was entirely self-inflicted. The situation was exacerbated when China responded with its own tariffs, further escalating tensions and signaling that Trump's aggressive stance may not yield the concessions he anticipated. The implications of these tariffs extend beyond mere market fluctuations. They threaten the fabric of relationships between the United States and its traditional allies. Foreign leaders have expressed their dismay, emphasizing that Trump's approach risks alienating partners who have long stood alongside the U.S. in matters of trade and diplomacy. The tariffs have created a palpable sense of uncertainty, with the business community, once a staunch supporter of Trump, beginning to voice concerns about the potential repercussions for American manufacturers, workers, and families. In the midst of this turmoil, Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell issued a warning that the tariffs could lead to higher inflation and slower economic growth. This stark assessment contrasted sharply with his previous remarks, which suggested that any impact from new tariffs would be transitory. The shifting narrative has left many in the business sector feeling unsettled, with executives privately acknowledging that Trump's steadfast support for the tariffs could result in severe economic repercussions. One CEO lamented, "Few of us ever imagined he would go this far. He could well bring down the economy and himself." The uncertainty surrounding Trump's trade policies has also stifled corporate investment as companies grapple with the unpredictable landscape. The first quarter of the year saw a significant decline in mergers and acquisitions, with many firms hesitating to act amid fears of economic instability. This cautious approach has led to a slowdown in equity offerings as well, as companies postpone fundraising efforts in light of the tariffs' ramifications. Moreover, as the tariffs threaten to exacerbate inflation, currently projected at 6.2%, predictions of a looming recession have become increasingly prevalent. The Conference Board reported that consumer expectations for the economy have plummeted to their lowest level in over a decade. With domestic manufacturing also in decline, the specter of stagflation, a combination of stagnant economic growth and rising inflation, looms large. As the Trump administration doubles down on its tariff strategy, many business leaders are left hoping for a change in direction. However, the prevailing sentiment suggests that Trump remains resolute in his approach, raising concerns about the potential for further economic turmoil. The unfolding situation serves as a stark reminder of the complexities of global trade and the delicate balance required to maintain economic stability in an interconnected world. In conclusion, the fallout from Trump's tariffs not only highlights the immediate impacts on stock markets and trade relations but also poses significant questions about the future of U.S. economic policy. As the global community watches closely, the potential for further escalation remains, leaving many to wonder how long this turbulent chapter in American trade history will last and what it may mean for the economy moving forward. In a tumultuous week for American politics and governance, events have unfolded that signal a shifting landscape with implications for both domestic policy and international relations. From significant personnel changes in national security to calls for civic resistance against current administration policies, the undercurrents of discontent are palpable. At the forefront is the ousting of the National Security Agency (NSA) chief, a move that has raised eyebrows across political and intelligence communities alike. This decision was reportedly spurred by pressure from far-right activists who have been vocally critical of the agency's leadership. The removal reflects a growing trend where political ideologies are increasingly influencing the strategic and operational frameworks of governmental institutions. As one analyst noted, this is not just about personnel, it's about the direction in which we want our intelligence agencies to operate. The implications of this shift could be profound, potentially affecting national security operations and intelligence sharing relationships with allies. Meanwhile, former President Barack Obama has stepped back into the political arena, urging citizens, educational institutions, and legal professionals to actively resist the current administration's agenda. His call to action comes at a time when many perceive a need for a collective stand against policies that they believe threaten democratic values and civil rights. "We must not sit idly by as our rights are eroded," Obama stated, emphasizing the importance of civic engagement in safeguarding democracy. This rallying cry resonates with many who feel disillusioned and marginalized by recent political developments. In the realm of global trade, President Donald Trump has made waves with a series of unexpected decisions that threaten to upend established international agreements. Analysts are closely watching how these changes will impact not only the U.S. economy but also its relationships with trading partners. Experts warn that a lack of foresight in trade policy could lead to economic instability, with potential repercussions for American workers and industries that rely on global supply chains. As one trade economist put it, unilateral moves without consultation could isolate the U.S. in a global economy that thrives on cooperation. Amidst these developments, stories of individual struggles within family businesses highlight the broader economic challenges facing many Americans. A recent column discussed how the exclusion of a family member from a business venture has led to its decline, illustrating the personal ramifications of shifting economic landscapes. The narrative serves as a microcosm of the larger issues at play in society. When familial and community ties are strained by economic pressures, the consequences can be dire not just for individuals but for the economy as a whole. As these events unfold, the convergence of political, economic, and social dynamics paints a complex picture of a nation at a crossroads. Observers are keenly aware that these developments are not isolated, they reflect broader trends that could shape the future of American governance and its role on the global stage. The coming weeks and months will be critical as citizens, policymakers, and institutions navigate this uncertain terrain, raising questions about the future of democracy, the economy, and the very fabric of American society. As the political climate continues to evolve, the outcomes of these events will undoubtedly resonate for years to come. In an increasingly interconnected global economy, the repercussions of trade policies can ripple through markets in unexpected ways. Recent developments surrounding U.S. tariffs, particularly those imposed by the Trump administration, have sparked significant volatility across various sectors, and even American-made products are not immune from these impacts. Amid rising tensions with China, a series of retaliatory measures has sent shockwaves through the stock market, leading to a staggering decline and raising concerns about the broader economic landscape. On April 4, 2025, the Dow Jones Industrial Average suffered its largest single-day drop in recent memory, plummeting by 2,200 points as investors reacted to China's announcement of retaliatory tariffs targeting a range of American goods. This dramatic decline was exacerbated by already existing fears regarding the stability of the U.S. economy and its workforce. Despite these challenges, the labor market showcased some resilience, with the Labor Department reporting the creation of 228,000 new jobs in March, defying expectations and suggesting a possible economic counterbalance to the market turmoil. In a twist of irony, even trucks manufactured in the U.S. are feeling the weight of these tariffs. A recent analysis highlighted that American automakers, while producing vehicles domestically, still rely on a complex web of global supply chains. According to industry experts, components sourced from overseas mean that tariffs can make even U.S.-made trucks vulnerable to increased costs. This situation raises questions about the long-term viability of American manufacturing and its ability to compete on a global scale. Tariffs are not just a straightforward tool, they complicate the entire supply chain, impacting pricing strategies and consumer choices, noted a leading analyst in the automotive sector. As the situation unfolds, public sentiment appears to be shifting. Polls indicate that Americans have been increasingly skeptical of Trump's economic initiatives even before the latest round of tariffs. Many citizens are beginning to express concerns that the aggressive trade policies could ultimately harm American jobs and economic stability. People are realizing that the trade wars may not bring the promised benefits, commented an economic strategist, reflecting a growing discontent with the current administration's approach. Looking ahead, the interplay between domestic job growth and the volatility introduced by international trade policies presents a complex challenge for policymakers. Economists are warning that continued uncertainty could lead to a slowdown in consumer spending, which has historically been a key driver of the U.S. economy. With inflation and interest rates also in the mix, stakeholders are keenly watching for any signs of a shift in the economic landscape. As the dust settles from these recent developments, it remains to be seen how the U.S. administration will respond to the mounting economic pressures. The effectiveness of current tariff strategies will be scrutinized, and the potential for new trade agreements could take center stage in future discussions. For now, businesses and consumers alike are left navigating a market filled with unpredictability, with the hope that a balanced approach can be achieved before the impacts become even more severe. In a surprising turn of events, President Volodymyr Zelensky's administration has launched an investigation into the leak of a sensitive U.S. proposal concerning Ukrainian assets. The leak, which disclosed details of a contentious deal involving critical minerals and energy assets, has heightened tensions between Kyiv and the Trump administration, prompting Zelensky to call for polygraph tests to ascertain the source of the breach. During a briefing with the Financial Times in late March, Zelensky expressed his bewilderment over the leak, questioning, "I wonder who is transmitting this information?" This leak comes on the heels of significant negotiations between Ukraine and the U.S., which are part of a broader strategy by the Trump administration to secure American interests in Ukraine amidst ongoing conflict with Russia. Ukrainian officials have voiced their concerns regarding the proposed deal, which they argue includes politically untenable demands from Washington. President Trump, in response, has accused Zelensky of attempting to backtrack on the agreement, warning that failure to sign could lead to big problems for Ukraine. The stakes are high. The revised U.S. proposal significantly expands upon an earlier framework agreement which had already been abandoned following a fallout between Zelensky and the Trump administration. The new proposal includes the establishment of a joint supervisory board to oversee revenues from Ukraine's oil, gas, and mineral projects. However, this has raised alarms among Ukrainian officials who fear that such arrangements could undermine national sovereignty and disrupt integration with the European Union. Zelensky himself stated, "We cannot accept any arrangement that undermines our EU path," highlighting the precarious balance Ukraine must maintain between securing U.S. support and adhering to its European aspirations. In the wake of the leak, Ukraine's domestic security service has begun utilizing polygraph tests across various ministries, a controversial move that reflects the seriousness with which the government is treating this breach of trust. While the effectiveness of lie detector tests remains a subject of debate, they have been employed in Ukraine for various investigations, including screening applicants for military service. The broader geopolitical implications of this situation are significant as the U.S. seeks to leverage its influence over Ukraine's resources while Kyiv is wary of compromising its sovereignty. The Trump administration's approach seems to be driven by the desire to recoup billions of dollars in military assistance previously provided to Ukraine, which Trump insists should be viewed as loans to be repaid through the proposed agreement. As the situation develops, Ukraine is preparing to present a revised proposal to the Trump administration ahead of an upcoming visit by Ukrainian officials to Washington. The outcome of these negotiations could have lasting effects on Ukraine's relationship with both the United States and the European Union, as well as its ongoing conflict with Russia. In conclusion, the investigation into the leaked U.S. proposal underscores the fragility of Ukraine's current political landscape as it navigates the demands of a powerful ally while striving to maintain its sovereignty and European integration ambitions. As both sides prepare for further discussions, the world watches closely to see how this high-stakes drama unfolds, with potential ramifications for global energy markets and regional security. In recent years, the United States has witnessed a growing influence of Christian nationalism within its political landscape, a trend that some fear could extend far beyond its borders. As the repercussions of the Supreme Court's 2022 ruling in Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization continue to reverberate, many are drawing parallels between contemporary American policies and the dystopian world depicted in Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale. Deborah Frances White, in her recent opinion piece for The Guardian, warns that the erosion of women's rights in the U.S. may serve as a harbinger for similar developments in other countries, particularly in the UK and Europe. Frances White highlights the alarming rise of Christian right organizations that have actively sought to overturn landmark rulings like Roe v. Wade. She recounts a debate with Aaron Hawley, a prominent lawyer affiliated with the Alliance Defending Freedom (ADF), where Hawley asserted that the Supreme Court's decision to protect abortion rights was an overreach of democratic principles. Yet Frances White points out a stark contradiction in Hawley's rhetoric. While she spoke in legal terms during the debate, her podcast earlier revealed a deeply religious motivation for her activism, one that calls to adopt a more traditional faith-based approach to women's issues. The implications of such religious-driven agendas are already evident in the U.S., where restrictive abortion laws have led to dangerous consequences for women. Reports indicate that in states with severe abortion bans, medical professionals are hesitant to provide necessary care, fearing legal repercussions which in some cases could lead to life-threatening situations for patients. In an alarming trend, South Carolina legislators are even attempting to classify abortion as homicide punishable by death. However, Frances White emphasizes that the threat is not confined to the U.S. alone. A growing number of women in the UK are facing increased scrutiny and legal repercussions for seeking abortions, with recent years seeing a notable uptick in prosecutions. The situation is compounded by potential overreach from law enforcement, with reports of police seizing personal devices to investigate suspected illegal abortions. This creeping influence of the Christian right is evident across Europe, where U.S. organizations have funneled millions into anti-abortion campaigns, leading to the establishment of similar groups in countries like the UK. The recent actions of high-profile political figures further illustrate the encroaching ideology. Frances White notes the collaboration between Nigel Farage and the ADF aimed at tightening abortion laws in the UK. Such movements are gaining traction amid a cultural shift that idolizes traditional gender roles, as seen in the popularity of tradwife content on social media. Despite the grim outlook, there are signs of resistance. In 2024, France enshrined abortion as a constitutional right, and various healthcare organizations in the UK are rallying for stronger protections for reproductive rights. Frances White argues that proactive measures are essential to safeguard these rights before they are further eroded. She emphasizes the necessity of public engagement and activism, echoing Atwood's rallying cry to not succumb to oppression. As the political landscape continues to evolve, the need for vigilance and action becomes increasingly urgent. The fate of women's rights in the U.S. and potentially throughout the world hangs in the balance, and it is clear that without a concerted effort to challenge these regressive movements, history may indeed repeat itself. The road to a more equitable future requires not only awareness but also action. As we stand at a crucial crossroads. In a remarkable blend of sports and entertainment, the narrative surrounding high-profile figures like Russell Wilson and Ciara continues to captivate audiences. As the world keeps an eye on the latest developments in both personal and professional spheres, significant events have unfolded recently that highlight their respective journeys. Ciara, the R&B superstar, has taken bold steps in her musical career with the release of her new single Ecstasy. This release marks a significant milestone as it is launched under her independent label Beauty Marks. On April 4, 2025, she celebrated this achievement with a spectacular unveiling of a massive billboard in Times Square, a move that has already ignited excitement among her fans. "We out here in Times Square. Ecstasy is on the big screen," she joyfully shared on her Instagram story, emphasizing her connection to the vibrant energy of New York City. This celebratory moment coincides perfectly with her husband Russell Wilson's recent career shift, as he signed a one-year deal with the New York Giants worth up to $21 million. His arrival in the Big Apple is not just a new chapter for his football career but also aligns with Ciara's bold moves in her music. The couple has quickly become a power duo in New York, often spotted together at prominent events, including a recent Knicks game where their presence drew attention from both sports and entertainment media. Ciara's new single is not merely a song, it encapsulates her evolution as an artist, blending romantic flair with classic R&B grooves, a style she describes as baby-making music. In an interview with Rolling Stone, she expressed her anticipation for the accompanying music video, affirming her commitment to delivering a strong emotional message through her work. "I can't wait for the world to see the video and experience ecstasy with me. The CC way," she stated, further illustrating her passion for her craft. Simultaneously, Wilson's transition to the Giants brings a wealth of experience to a team that is still solidifying its quarterback future. Following a celebrated 10-year tenure with the Seattle Seahawks, which included a Super Bowl victory, Wilson's new role is set against a backdrop of significant expectations. The addition of Jameis Winston to the roster and the strategic decisions surrounding the upcoming draft could further influence Wilson's performance and the team's trajectory. As both Ciara and Wilson navigate these new chapters in their careers, they are not only redefining their personal brands but also enhancing the cultural landscape of New York City. Their union of entertainment and sports showcases a unique synergy, inspiring countless fans and followers along the way. Looking ahead, it will be intriguing to observe how Ciara's musical endeavors and Wilson's football career unfold in tandem. As they establish their presence in New York, their influence is likely to ripple through both the entertainment and sports industries, promising exciting developments for fans of both realms.